Peak Wealth Management proudly presents Finding True Wealth with certified financial planner Nick Hopwood and accredited investment fiduciary Jim Pilot. Nick and Jim believe by making simple, good financial decisions, you can retire with confidence. And now, let's turn it over to your hosts, Nick and Jim.
Welcome everyone to episode 108 of the Retire with Confidence podcast. I'm Nick Hopwood, and this is
Lucky Lee,
our special guest for this week. As you know, we believe by providing education and guidance, we inspire and educate our clients to make great decisions, and we believe that they can retire with confidence as a result. Now, with finances, we talk about being healthy with our finances. We're going to have a analogy with being healthy with our health, with our body, right?
Exactly.
So Lucky. So is it Aaron or Lucky? What do you like? What do you prefer?
Sure. I tell most of my patients, you can call me whatever you want. Name does not matter. It's the meaning behind the name that matters. So, I just start with why I got the name Lucky. I hang out with some friends of mine, and, colleagues. They always say, "Oh, you're so lucky." We in acupuncture school, they say, "Oh, you're Chinese. You speak Chinese. You're so lucky." But when I came here, then I went to China. They say, "Oh, you speak English. You're in America. You're so lucky." So I just feel I'm so fortunate, and I said, okay, you can call me that. So I guess I've accepted that name. But as to matching the tagline, so in Livonia Acupuncture, we believe in helping people declare health independence. We see many times again where people are having chronic illnesses where they have no relief with modern medications, and they find themselves relying on something as a clutch, whether it be different treatment modalities or different injections, drugs, to maintain their health, just to keep up. So what we want to do is get people to the level of health where they could sustain some kind of independence. And that coincidentally kind of matches up with what Nick has in his philosophy, is that, right? Helping people retire with confidence so that you have enough, I'm still learning passive income to kind of...
That's right, passive income.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Peak income 360.
Yeah, and I also want to tell the audience out there that's listening that Nick has been so helpful to me in helping me just changing my mindset and really build a legitimate clinic as well as business. I guess just a quick background. Sorry, I'm taking out all the airtime.
Let me ask you about your background,
okay,
because I want it to be a conversation. Okay? So we met a few years ago, and the first thing that we learned about each other is that we have exactly the same degree. We both have an econ degree from Michigan. I'm a few years older, okay? But we talked about the professors and Lorch Hall and the classes and everything, and I thought that was so funny, because here I am, I'm using my econ degree, right? But what about you?
I am not.
But okay, so how did you go from China to Ann Arbor, econ, into acupuncture? That's the question. I think I know, but I'd like you to explain.
Sure. So this story starts with a woman in China with kind of a broken heart, in that sense that we have a Chinese medicine or acupuncture lineage in our family. However, my mother was not respected as a practitioner in China because she was a woman. So she came to the States. First, she was just visiting. She found that, she lived in Ann Arbor. She, as a part-time gig. At the time, there was no acupuncture regulations, and she was just visiting. So she kind of, helped out another friend cleaning the libraries in University of Michigan. And then as she's cleaning the libraries, and she said, my son will go to this school and he will become a doctor here. It's a little emotional, so forgive me if I start
so that idea that has really manifested itself, and here we are.
Yeah, not quite. So she came here, and I started going to U of M. Right as I got accepted, she started telling everybody she
Well, hold
knows.
on. How old were you when you came here?
So when I came in at 13.
Okay. And did you have English in China?
No, I didn't know anything.
So you come at 13 and you have to learn English right away.
Yeah, I knew very, very basic British English. So it would be like water closet. And then right, people would say, what is that? A bathroom. Oh, he needs bathroom. So, but that wasn't really, you can't communicate. So I had to learn, like everybody else, from the curse words and up, and starting to know, get in trouble, say bad things to teachers, and get other people in trouble. So that's how everybody learns English that way. So I guess, I went to Scarlett Middle School, and I went to Huron High School, and then I went to University of Michigan.
Okay. So your mother, she had the proclamation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you got the undergrad degree from Michigan, and she was practicing acupuncture while you were a kid, 13 and up, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to Michigan, and then do you go directly from undergrad to go working for her in some capacity?
Yeah, so about 80% of students went to Michigan undergrad as pre-med. And I have to say, it was really hard. I unfortunately was not smart enough to make it into the, have the GPA to get into med school. So the idea was that I would...
What was your GPA? I'm just kidding.
At U of M?
I'm just kidding.
Please don't ask. It's 2.8. Okay? But for U of M, I think is okay.
Well,
I did, however, found my own club in U of M. It's called the Michigan Alternative Medicine Club. So it's still 50 members strong. So why did I have an econ degree in the end was that I found, I'm not going to be a doctor. So it took me a while, felt like a failure for a long time. I just feel like, I'm not going to go get a music degree or something like that. I just, math came pretty easy to me. So
it seemed like a practical degree, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things was that when my mother practiced acupuncture, she did not know how to manage a clinic. She wanted the best for patients, so she was barely charging enough just to pay rent. She didn't, consider about the overhead, the potential access capital you need for business expansion or hiring employees. So that was another big hurdle we had to learn to kind of come through my own personal journey, and then
to that point, Lucky, there's a ton of people who are great practitioners in whatever trade you do, whether it's financial planning or acupuncture or whatever, but trying to run a business, right? Being a practitioner and being the business owner, that's a difficult task, and most people definitely do not optimize. And when did you start with your mother?
I started practicing with her pretty much, we first started just practicing acupuncture for family, friends of family. Acupuncture did not start licensing in Michigan until I think it was 2013. And, before then, pretty much nobody knew what acupuncture was. So, acupuncture is something that came up really fast. So then what happened was after acupuncture was, starting to get popularized, we started to open a clinic and started practicing acupuncture, and then we started applying for licenses. First you had to submit your education and degree. For me, it was because my mother practiced acupuncture, so I was able to take an advanced placement test in Beijing. So that kind of, certified me as an apprentice and passing the requirements for acupuncture for the boards and to get licensed for the state of Michigan.
Okay. So then, fast forward, tell me about the transition of your mother. I think she's retired, and now you taking over the clinic and so on.
Sure. So I've practiced with my mother for a while, and despite anybody tell you practicing with your family or working with your family is not easy. So I would want to do one thing and she would want to do another. And she would always say, well, if you want to do it your way, then you leave and start your own place. She was always saying that. So one day I just said, okay, I will leave. So there was another opportunity here in Livonia. There was a clinic that I could take over. So I did, and I started practicing here. But I started practicing with my mother professionally since 2015.
Okay. And let's see. Then we met right shortly thereafter. It's been a few years. You're probably already practicing at the new clinic for a couple years, and then we met. And what was interesting, because I had acupuncture elsewhere, and what was unique about Livonia Community Acupuncture is that you had just one great big room at the time. And so you had many people in one room, and now, right, you have individual rooms. So, tell us about the transition from getting started to where you are now.
Sure. So we found that, my mother was charging a very low rate. So her idea was to make it affordable for patients. And I just figured, hey, you know what? I want one big open room, and I want to have many people in here. And later, actually, coincidentally found out that creates a morphic healing field. So that even if you're taking a nap in that room without getting acupuncture, you still feel the healing effect.
Really?
Right. But obviously, since pandemic, our patients feel very comfortable being in their own room, and they don't want to be with others, so we had to kind of adapt.
Yeah. So you moved the office last year, and everyone has their own room now, like their own like massage room, so to speak.
Right, individual rooms with UV light filters. It's been studied that the coronavirus does not like the UV light. Actually, it's very sensitive to UV light. So we have UV light installed in every room, so that our patients could be safe and while receiving treatment, and also keeping our staff safe.
And I agree. I've been to your place many times and bought many packages. Right, testimony. Right.
Oh, okay.
and I feel very safe. Absolutely. So let's back up 1 second though and say, what is acupuncture? I know that everyone's heard the name, and many people have already experienced it. But what is it for those of us who don't know?
Sure. So acupuncture is a holistic medicine. So when we talk about holistic, we talk about all the organs in your body, all the pieces and muscle tissue groups in your body working as a whole. So for instance, I was just thinking about this analogy earlier. I walk into this office, right, and there is, Nick, you have your staff, right? Patty works here, you work here, and we also have Ashley coming in to help out. So assuming that this business is a body, and you have different organs as different people that play different roles. So Nick, as the director or the owner of this place, you'll be the heart, okay? And let's say Patty, who is in charge of...
I think Patty is the heart.
Okay.
I can be the lungs.
Okay. So actually, the lung is the prime minister. So the lung kind of is nearby the heart.
Yeah.
So acupuncture is a old ancient wisdom, art, so that everything has this poetic meaning to it, right? So each organ holds a separate office in the body. So when you are sick, then we see who is accountable for the sickness, right? And also when people talk about, okay, my lung is having issues, I see a lung specialist. But first, before you see that, we need to see, is the lung or the lungs operating at the same time as the rest of the body? All right, what do I mean by that? So, for the organization to work, everybody needs to show up at work at the right time. If, for example, some patients like to skip breakfast until noon, right? Your whole body is awake, but your stomach is still not waking up.
And that's why you tell me that I shouldn't be skipping breakfast and lunch, which I do today and almost every day.
Yeah. And this is why a lot of people have insomnia or tend to eat late, is that when in the morning they don't eat. When they eat their lunch, their stomach is just waking up, so it's digesting breakfast. So at dinner, you're eating a late lunch, and then right around nap, time to sleep, you said, your stomach, so you still owe me dinner.
Yeah. So when on days when I do eat lunch, I'm so sleepy in the afternoon. Does that make sense to you?
Sure. So that could be that the stomach is not used to functioning this way.
Yeah.
So that's actually the spleen that's guiding the stomach to do that. So one way to conquer that problem would be eating a little bit less, and then make sure you chew your food so that it's easier to digest.
Yeah, like 25 chews for each bite.
Right, and make sure the saliva, right, really gets into the food. On this topic, I want to tell everybody, I am not a big fan of juicing unless you chew your juice.
Really?
Right.
That doesn't seem.
Here's why. When you
Doesn't seem
chew,
necessary.
when you chew, your gums actually secrete saliva, and the saliva mixing with the food is how your stomach acid is able to digest the food. Just like all creatures, right? Like snake, when it bites into something, it secretes poison, or different animals, and that is designed, right? You say God's design to help you digest. But if somebody's drinking juice, that's really harsh to the stomach because there's no saliva in there. So juice is okay, but I hope I can patent this somehow. But you chew your juice, you get some saliva in there. That'll help you not even, help your stomach digest better. Usually you absorb more of that juice as well.
I'll try that next time.
So yeah, hopefully, try it, let me know.
So we want to make sure that different organs are on the same page, right? Mm-hmm. And so by doing so, it helps our body with sleeping and with digestion, and what other kind of illnesses can we attack with our, our acupuncture?
Sure. So when we do differential diagnosis, we look at different organs, and we look at different organs functioning in their own time rhythm. In modern day, people talk about the circadian rhythm, right, which is your sleeping schedule. But underneath that, there are actually different biological rhythms for different organs as well. And different organs, depending on the person, also links to different planets. Okay, this might be a little bit out there, but there are research being done. Acupuncture is highly related to physics. So with that said, we will look at, for instance, say someone's stomach, for example, right? Someone's stomach isn't functioning well, so they don't have an appetite during the day, but at night they have a lot of appetite, right? So then let's talk about someone's heart, okay? So if somebody's heart is on a different rhythm, so in the daytime, they will feel, you kind of like this person is functioning, but when you look at them, they're not there. But at nighttime, right, the heart in the daytime is asleep, the nighttime is awake. So they will have very vivid dreams, even nightmares, or when they're at night, they just feel like there's something going on with the chest area, they can't rest, right? So with all of this, right, we consider health a coherence. So how coherent are you with you, your brain, and all your organs all at the same time? So different organs functioning at different rates, you could see how this person is behaving and functioning, and the functioning prolonged causes different issues. So there's a whole different study on that. I think modern day people just want to do tests and see what's going on now, but it's lacking the aspect of what's causing that.
Yeah, I believe in that tremendously. I think that all the pills that we're on just masks the symptom, but let's find out the cause, the underlying root cause of the problem. So one of the biggest problems in our society is like blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease, and then cancer. So those are the two biggest things that I always see anecdotally. So if someone says, hey, I have high blood pressure or high cholesterol or heart disease, what do you tell them?
So
you don't have to give any specific recommendations, but
Sure.
People come to you and they have these problems, right?
Right. So many doctors have already been recommending acupuncture to help manage stress and lifestyle. And if you ask any doctor, no doubt they will tell you, oh, you need to change your lifestyle. Right? It is a lifestyle caused issue. This is very common knowledge now. So what we are hoping to achieve with acupuncture for patients who are having these symptoms currently is that to come in to use acupuncture to regulate your lifestyle, if nothing else, will slow the progression of these diseases.
Yeah, so we had conversations about my blood pressure increasing over the years, and we talk about having a stressful job and so on. But acupuncture is a way to help reduce your stress, which then should help lower the blood pressure naturally, right?
Right. So acupuncture does a couple things. When people's stress is really high, right, it triggers a lot of cortisol from the body. A healthy person, when people say, "Oh, I want to achieve balance," what does that mean? Right, balance is a healthy balance of your, dopamine levels, your serotonin levels, and your also norepinephrine levels. And these come from different organs of the body. So the heart will be in charge of the dopamine, right? Your kidney will be in charge. What dopamine is about alertness, right? Your heart will be about concentration, or your kidney will be about concentration, right? And norepinephrine is about helping you feel calm. So when all these chemicals are in balance, your body would achieve this very peaceful state, which is what people refer to as the runner's high after acupuncture. And this is the state where your body starts to heal. If one of these chemicals is off, for example, if someone is having a lot of dopamine, right, none of the other two, people would feel, right, very edgy, right? Appetite would be increased. They would want to have no patience for things, right? And all these different chemicals and hormones in your body, right, due to modern day stress, needs to have to be managed for someone to have a healthier lifestyle.
I believe it was last March when COVID, came on the scene in the U.S. I guess maybe it was in February, but March was the real beginning of the lockdowns and everything. Mm-hmm. I developed a sty on my eye, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, well, that's weird. Right. But I never really thought much. And you said, "What's going on with your eye?" And you're I'm like, I don't know. And you said, "Well, are you under a lot of stress?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." Because portfolios were at risk, right, with the pandemic. So you think that the sty could be a result from stress, stuff like that, right? So maybe there's a lot of things that we don't really understand, that are happening to us that we don't take notice of.
Yeah, and that's what actually I like you so much over other financial people, Nick, is that you actually care, because when a sty happens in your eye, the eye exits through the liver, right? If someone has red eyes, we say that you have excess liver issues, right? If someone's eyes feel very, there's no spark in them, right, we say that there's a lack of energy in the eyes and the kidneys. So the fact that there's a sty means that you really are stressed about your client's well-being. So it shows that you care a lot.
Now you use the word energy.
Yeah.
Okay, that term, I feel like you have a really high energy. Like, actually, maybe you can agree. Like when you walk in, first time I met you, there's like a bounce in your step. You're like smiling all the time, right? Real positive. And so I feel like you bring this positive energy with you. There are also people or places that are low energy. And I always refer to Applebee's as a low energy place. Okay? Like when you go into Applebee's, you're just like, and this feels bad.
Yeah.
And maybe next time you go to Applebee's, you'll take note of that. But for me, that's a low energy place. Okay, I don't like it. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's people that are there. But what can you tell me about why you have high energy and other people have high energy, and then a lot of people are low energy, and you just get is low energy a bad vibe, or is a bad vibe a whole separate energy?
So well, thank you very much. I can't feel my own energy. I guess, but what I could say is that people get caught up in the specifics. So there is a old saying, right, from the acupuncture lineage and texts is that, if you are a rabbit trapper, right, you trap the rabbit with the trap and then you forget the trap.
Hold on, say it again.
So if you're a hunter,
Yeah.
And you trap the rabbit with your trap, after you harvest your rabbit, you forget the trap. Okay. If you're a fisherman, you fish with your fishing pole. After you get your fish, you forget the fishing pole. Okay. If you are, communicating with words, right? You use words to communicate meaning. Once you receive the meaning, you forget the words. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the punchline is, now can I have a word with someone who needs to forget about words? Where does
when I catch a fish, I'm like, man, I'm a great fisherman. I'm not like complimenting my pole, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the analogy in modern day is that you can enjoy the light bulb without knowing how it exactly works.
Yeah.
I think when people are feeling a level of wellness, they could forget about the specifics. Right? I can overlook the imperfections of this. I can overlook something you said that wasn't exactly correct with the modern dictionary or whatever political affiliations. I think that it's not that people misunderstand each other, just they're looking to understand the wrong things. So you can say, oh, you're saying things this way, which now I get, but I'm not looking to decipher every word to say each. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
I don't know how to. So I guess talking about high energy is that maybe the energy is not dispersed into many different places. As in, I'm not being distracted by all these small things that are going on, and I really just wanted to enjoy the conversation with you.
Okay. Now, I often tend to think of the energy level with like a vibration level. Mm-hmm. So you could say, hey, he's high energy. He vibrates at a high level. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. And I think there's a high correlation. Like if Jesus vibrated at a level of 1,000, like maybe I vibrate at a level of 10, right? But maybe the guy with low energy is like level 1, mm-hmm. right? So yeah. I tend to think of it like that.
Yeah. So Jesus is actually a great healer. He's the best. Jesus actually studied, healing arts from Tibet. And then that's why there's a lost chapter of Jesus from age 13 to 30 that later was, taken off. But Jesus then brought the healing back to the Middle East. So it's able to heal people.
Interesting.
But speaking of that, right, very high level holy men could heal. I think if you come to terms with your own self and align better with your purpose, you could have higher energy because you're not thinking about other things. And for some people, it could be, Dalai Lama. He could just talk to you and, smile with you. And after a conversation seamlessly, hey, my cough went away because I've talked to this person. And that happens. And, I think everybody's capable to be healers. Not just, it could be your grocery store, cashier that has a really good energy and you feel like, hey, I like shopping here. I like talking to this person.
Sometimes you can feel high energy from someone like that or a bad energy, right? It goes both ways. Yeah. So enough about energy. Okay. So what else should we learn about acupuncture that we haven't talked about yet? Some of the main points?
Sure. So acupuncture places needles in different parts of the body and to resonate a rhythm within the body so that the body starts to heal itself. A modern understanding could be, right, to retrain your nerves in your brain to release different chemicals in your body to start healing. So I would say for people that are curious about acupuncture that would like to try it, make sure you eat a little bit before you come in. Acupuncture is great at lowering blood sugar. So if somebody is right a little thin, if they don't eat, they may not feel very good. They might feel slightly dizzy. So I just want to get that out there. Whether you're around here, you want to see me or see another acupuncturist in the future, this is a great tip to have. And also try to eliminate caffeine or be too wired before coming to treatment, because in acupuncture we want you to relax, and a lot of people that come a couple times, they could start really getting to deep rest.
Yeah.
When you get acupuncture, it's almost like a REM sleep.
Yeah, I feel like when I come in, you put the needles in and it's like you're floating, right? Like a runner's high, definitely like a floating feeling, which is really, and then you fall asleep, right? And so if you have some chronic problems that you're working on, right, you come once a week for 30 minutes, and then maybe after you start feeling better, you don't have to come so often. Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Again, helping people declare health independence is our motto. So we want to have your body start feeling independent. Now, what do we mean by independence? If you eat right, sleep right, and poop right, then you'll be all right. This is what one of my
spit out my coffee, man.
Most respected acupuncture teachers used to say, is that if you have normal bowel movements 2-3 times a day, if you could sleep through the night without waking up, if you could eat and properly digest your food, and you're healthy, right? Again, right, modern medical goes through all these different tests and put you through different measurements to say, oh, this is a healthy person, that is a healthy person. I've yet to see one healthy person that stands in front of me that fits all those charts and just have no problem. Just impossible. As a matter of fact, if you see a expert doctor, you would want to expect them to find something wrong with you. So I would say, right, different people have different wants and goals about their health, but right, it's best to just, like I was saying earlier, don't look too into the specifics. Because if you see enough doctors, they'll find something wrong with you. And don't get me wrong, that's not to say don't go see doctors, right? But make sure, right, to check common sense. Right? If you're sleeping well, if you're eating well, if you're in a good mood, most likely, I think you'll be all right.
So for people who want to learn more about you and your clinic, where would you direct them? What website?
Sure, LivoniaACU.com.
ACU.
People can't spell acupuncture correctly or something.
Yeah, there's only one C, right? Yeah, there's only one C. It's crazy. There should be two.
I know.
I think I spelled it wrong with you on some official paperwork once, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you have it. I've had a good experience with Lucky, and I think if you visited him, you'd have a good experience with him as well. And so, right, we tie all these organs and energies together. We do it financially. If you have everything hitting on all cylinders financially, right, we want to live to enjoy that, right? And we don't want to have a short life expectancy if we have the resources to enjoy a long retirement.
Yeah.
Right?
And I also want to say that, after people get healthy, we want to make sure that they come in for maintenance. And the reason for that is, right, you want to see your energy input and output, kind of like how you see your money, is that, right, you want to make more than you can spend. So you would make money and then you put it aside with Nick, 401k, or save it into assets. And then, you don't want to spend it all. And worse, you don't want to spend more than what you can afford. So with acupuncture is similar to what Nick is doing, is that, right, making sure you don't exert all your energy and just live for today in, all fronts. So everything in moderation is very important.
Very good. There you have it. Well, thank you all for joining us on episode 108, and we'll look forward to speaking. We'll have Jim Pilot back in the seat for episode 109, and we'll be talking about what it means to retire with confidence in our own interpretations.
Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to certified financial planner Nick Hopwood and accredited investment fiduciary Jim Pilot on the Finding True Wealth podcast, sponsored by Peak Wealth Management. You can learn more about Peak Wealth Management by visiting peakwm.com or follow on Twitter at nhopwood1.